So he thinks that the presence of 10 units is minus 10, and the presence of sheer pleasure is plus 30. That is for the existing. And the minus existing is plus 10, and the absence of 30 unit pleasure is 0, which leads us that 20 if you add those together, and 10 if we add those together. So which means that existing, which is 20, is much better than non-existing. That is what Aaron trying to explain to David, to reply to David, that that his example is not wrong and is not accurate enough to be considered as a basic argument on this criteria. Now, Benatar explained in his book that it is not bad for the non-existent to lack the advantage of good in life, because the lack of advantages in good life, it means that it is not considered real constitute of a real advantage for the existing. Aaron replies and thinks that he stated actually about this one. He stated that it is not bad for me that I didn't find Aladdin's lamp on the way home from grocery. It is not bad for me that I wasn't born with Superman power. So what he's trying to explain here, that it is not always bad for less good. Less good could mean anything. It couldn't mean that it is bad. That's what Aaron trying to explain to us here. Aaron explained here that it is life worth living is not clearly. We should actually. He thinks that David is right about showing what argument that we needed to do. What we needed to make sure that it life worth living or not. He agrees with David about that, but he thinks that the arguments that David presented is totally wrong and inadequate. All right. So let me see. He thinks, Aaron, that there is no clear case to determine whether it's life worth living or not. Aaron support that statement. He supported with, if a person who is collecting a rubber band or making 100 copies of the book War and Peace appears to be less worth living than a situation of a person who pursued valuable ending. So he thinks that it is based on meaningless measures, and it is not something solid enough to, let's say, base a good judgment whether life worth living or not. That is what Aaron tries to explain to us by this example. We're going to show the second argument of David Benatar, which is, let me see here, he divided into 2 points. One point, the first point, is that something Aaron didn't explain about, which is that David thinks that about the optimistic of life, and that Aaron didn't want to go through this. He just considered on the second part of the second argument, which is, according to the most plausible theories, what makes a life good or one who lives it, life is still bad and not worth gambling by existing. Aaron mentioned that those theories that what David talk about is the hedonism and the preferentism. Now, what Aaron replies to this argument is, once again, David failed to show, to see the opposite of better. It's not always bad. Sometimes it's just less good. Aaron replies the second argument by, David showed inadequate example that does not support the argument of pessimism. Aaron said that David always failed to see that sometimes it's just less good, and less good does not mean always bad. So the conclusion here that David made a mistake. He made a mistake with those arguments, but I support anti-natalism, which is the whole main idea. David's arguments are wrong, but the idea of anti-natalism is correct. Thank you very much, and have a lovely day.